thanks for joining us tonight on another episode of The Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters, and I'm so glad you guys have decided to tune in for another fabulous little half hour where we're going to talk all things motorsports because we've got a big show in store for you this week. Last weekend, actually, we had an Indiana native win the 40th annual Chili Bowl Nationals out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was a big deal. Another great event out there at the Chili Bowl. But then this weekend, we've got the Rolex 24 at Daytona, arguably one of the best 24-hour endurance races in the country, maybe even the world, though that might be a little bit more disputed. But either way, it's a great time to be in racing, especially if you're in Indiana, because the winner of that Chili Bowl was an Indiana native. And coming up later on this week, we're going to be talking with an Indiana driver who's recently made his plans for the 2026 ARCA race at Daytona. Very excited to bring you guys that coming up here later on in the week. And we will reveal who that is later on in the show, so do not go anywhere. Stick around the entire 30 minutes. You won't want to miss a single thing. It's a big week for Indiana. The IU Hoosiers won the College Football National Championship. This isn't a football show, it's a racing show, but hey, congrats to all those Hoosiers out there who are celebrating maybe a Chili Bowl victory, maybe a national championship, depending on what your fancy is. But anyway, before we go ahead and get into this week's news and notes out of the world of racing, please remember, if you like the show, to go ahead and follow me on social media. Now, you can do that by looking up at rpeeters33, that's R-P-E-E-T-E-R-S 33 on social media, and that helps me know whether or not you like the show, whether or not you think it's worthy of your time, and I really appreciate all those follows. Now, also be sure to have that handy-dandy little WTHR Plus app installed on your smart TV so that you get brand new episodes of the Racing Report each and every week that they are posted. Let's go ahead and now jump right on into the world of Formula One and start talking news and notes out of there, because Lewis Hamilton is getting a new race engineer for 2026, as former engineer Riccardo Adami is going to move to a role with Ferrari's Young Driver program. Now, Ferrari says Hamilton's new race engineer for this upcoming Formula One season will be announced in, quote, due course. So we don't really know who his new engineer will be just yet, but as soon as we do know, we will be sure to bring you that news here on the Racing Report. Also in the world of Formula One, the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari in Imola. I can't speak Italian, forgive me. That's probably Hispanic accent, but I digress. Imola, that circuit out in Imola, is reportedly using its absence from the 2026 Formula One calendar to make significant changes and improvements to the facility, including a restyled paddock area, a new hospitality area, and upgrades to nearby roads to help with traffic flow. So we'll see what all that comes in with the Imola circuit. They're also looking to add more events throughout the year as they try to get back on the Formula One schedule, maybe by 2027 or even 2028, but definitely these improvements should likely help that, and I'm kind of curious and excited to see what they look like when all is said and done. Now, moving on in the Formula One world, Red Bull team principal Laurent Mekies has admitted that the team must improve their second car, and he also says that Isaac Hadjar will get full support from the team in order to keep him on par with Max Verstappen. Now, as it's been reported on this show and in many other outlets, Red Bull has really had this problem with their second driver the last several seasons in terms of just they're either not on pace with Max Verstappen, or they are, and then they're quickly not, as we've seen with Sergio Perez, who was definitely winning races, scoring podiums, and helping Max Verstappen secure drivers' championships, helping Red Bull secure constructors' championships, but eventually, as things seemed to change within that organization, the car became more and more suited to Max Verstappen, less and less suited to Sergio Perez. And then once Perez was given the boot, they threw Liam Lawson in there. Lawson lasted only like 2 races and then was kicked to the curb for Yuki Tsunoda, who finished the season and now is no longer with Red Bull. That's got to change, and the team principal has acknowledged it. So hopefully we'll see some better results out of the second Ferrari car. Obviously, Isaac Hadjar did a great job last season in the Racing Bulls, driving that car in his rookie season, and now he's going to be matched up with Max Verstappen, which is going to put a lot of pressure on that kid. But believe me, I think he's somebody who might be able to live up to that pressure, especially if Laurent Mekies keeps his word here, keeps his word and stays true to what he said to the media. Meanwhile, let's talk about some Formula One media as we agree, right? See? Formula One media we're talking about. Anyway, Apple. As you all know, as we reported a couple of months ago here on the Racing Report, Apple is taking over the United States broadcast television rights to Formula One beginning this season. So again, if you're used to tuning in and watching on ESPN, that is a thing of the past. You will need to get Apple TV and pay for some subscription on Apple TV in order to watch Formula One this season. But here's what Apple said. Apple's kind of teased what their style of broadcasting is going to be. And they said that they're going to be using, quote, the entire Apple ecosystem, whatever that means. Now, this article that I'm getting this news from came from motorsport.com. And in that motorsport.com article, they made the comparison to how when Apple TV has Major League Baseball, how they use iPhone cameras to help broadcast that entity, but they didn't really specify what exactly these new technologies or how the ecosystem will be integrated into Formula One coverage. Again, it was just kind of more of a tease, but definitely as we get closer and closer to the Formula One season starting up here in a couple of months' time, I'm sure we'll get more information about that, and I'm kind of curious to see what Apple has in store for us. So looking forward to that. Meanwhile, staying in streaming, if you're paying for streaming services and you're a Formula One fan, Godspeed to you, because Netflix has announced the premiere date for Season 8 of Drive to Survive. Netflix says that season will premiere on February 27th across all of its platforms and across all countries where Netflix exists. So F1 fans look forward to that. I know I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what some of that drama comprises of here coming up here in about a month. But that is it for the Formula One news for this week. Let's go ahead now and jump into the IndyCar world, staying in the open wheel category for today. And the big news there is that Ed Carpenter Racing has announced some organizational changes ahead of the 2026 season. First and foremost, former race engineer and chief engineer Matt Barnes has been promoted to vice president of competition. Meanwhile, ex-Formula E engineer and also an engineer who served with Ed Carpenter Racing in the past, Quentin Montego will serve as Alexander Rossi's new race engineer, while Robert Gu, who previously worked with Arrow McLaren and Prema, will join the team as its new senior project engineer. All that alongside the news that Ed Carpenter will once again return to the cockpit in the Indianapolis 500 in May for his 23rd try to win the race. So some big news there, big shakeups there with Ed Carpenter Racing, but we'll see what that goes with. Obviously, they did score a victory last season with Christian Rasmussen, and it looks like things should be more or less status quo for Rasmussen's side of the organization. But Rossi obviously getting a new race engineer and some other personnel changes. But otherwise, pretty much staying the same. And finally, speaking of in the IndyCar world, Team Penske says Raul Prados will serve as Scott McLaughlin's race engineer for 2026. So also Scott McLaughlin getting a new race engineer coming up in 2026. So IndyCar season coming up here. It's just about a month away, a little over a month away, coming up here at St. Petersburg in late February, early March. Looking forward to that. And that is it for this week's open wheel news, Formula One IndyCar, but don't go anywhere just yet, because when we come back from this short break, we're going to break down all of the news in the world of Supercars, in the world of NASCAR, and we're going to get you ready for the Rolex 24 at Daytona coming up this weekend. We're also going to recap the Chili Bowl, so again, there's more reason to stay tuned. So more Racing Report coming up after this. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us throughout that break. Let's go ahead and get into some of the news and notes in the world of stock cars and in GT cars and whatnot. Specifically, we're going to start off with the Supercars news today because we've got a lot to discuss there. If you're following the championship that races exclusively in Australia and New Zealand, this is a pretty big deal. Supercars says that the Sandown 500 is going to move up a week to November 6th through 8th, 2026, because in a statement at least, they said that the returfing of the Melbourne Racing Club's Caulfield track has forced an unavoidable scheduling clash at Sandown. So, and that's not the only scheduling clash that's happened. They've also had to move up the grand final race in Adelaide due to other scheduling clashes. And this comes after the schedule was already posted and confirmed and announced and everything. We've already had the Supercars schedule coming up. And we've had it for several months now, and now they've making changes, 2 big changes to be aware of in the Supercars world. But by the time November rolls around, we'll probably have already been accustomed to it. But just something to note there if you're planning on watching Supercars this season. Also, a little bit of a change too. Supercars says it is changing the layout of its race at the Bend from the 4.95 kilometer international layout to the smaller 3.41. I almost rattled off the digits of pi there. 3.41 kilometer west layout. Now that, as a result of that, because they're going from a much larger distance to a shorter distance, the lap count is going to increase from 102 laps to 147 laps. So that's going to be the endurance race at the Bend. They're changing it around, and it's not going to be at the international course anymore. It's going to be at the a lot shorter west course. So just be aware of that for Supercars fans coming up here in quite some time. Again, we still have a while to go before any of these events happen, but good to be aware of just in case. Now, here's another thing. If you are watching Supercars abroad or even in Australia, you might have come to know the voices of Mark Skaife and Neil Crompton. Those are the 2 guys who headline Supercars coverage. They serve as the main 2 commentators during the race. But now, Speed Cafe is reporting that Supercars could replace Crumpo and Skaife in the broadcast booth for the 2026 season. And apparently this is more than just a rumor. These are internal reports that Speed Cafe has cited as sources, anonymous sources. You know how it goes in journalism. You know something, you want to tell a reporter, but you don't want to get fired. Well, that's essentially what's happened here, and it seems like they will be moving in a new direction when it comes to the commentary in Supercars races for 2026. But again, like I said, not confirmed, just rumors based on internal sources. But that will be a big change for those of you who have been watching Supercars like myself for many, many years, who have grown accustomed to hearing Crumpo and Skaife on the race broadcasts each and every race weekend. I'm not sure who's going to fill in that gap. Now, the only confirmed driver that we know is going to join the broadcast team next year, not necessarily in the broadcast booth, is going to be the recently fully retired Garth Tander. But outside of that, we don't really know what his role is, per se. We know he's been serving on the pit box, in the pit road, and whatnot. But overall, we could be hearing some very different voices when Supercars rolls around coming up here in about a month's time. So just be aware of that. Now, the final piece of Supercars news to discuss today is a very interesting one. Now, we reported on this show a couple of months ago that SCT Motorsport was essentially branching off and leaving Brad Jones Racing and going to 888 Racing to run a Ford Mustang with them. But Supercars, under the rules, that has caused a bit of an issue when it comes to pit boxes. Now, if you're unfamiliar, in Supercars, typically each team gets 1 pit box for their 2 cars. If you are a team that runs 4 cars, you get 2 pit boxes. And in 3 cars is a little bit more weird. You usually end up having to share a pit box with somebody else. Now, because of this, and because of the odd number of pit boxes that are going to be happening, Supercars has basically said that SCT Motorsports car, technically, despite being fielded by Triple Eight Racing, will still have to share a pit box with Brad Jones Racing and their Toyotas. Now, that is also entirely dependent on where that SCT Motorsports car is in the championship. So let's say, hypothetically, it jumps out ahead of Brock Feeney, of Will Brown, for whatever reason. That means that Will Brown or Brock Feeney or whoever he's ahead of is going to be relegated to sharing a pit box with that Brad Jones Racing Toyota team. So, some very interesting notes there in the world of supercars. If you're unfamiliar with that, don't worry. I'm sure that they'll explain it to you. Whoever is on the broadcast coming up here in in a month's time when Supercars returns. But that is it for the news from the series Down Under. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the news and notes in the world of NASCAR. Staying here because, again, we've got the Cookout Clash is just weeks away. The Daytona 500 is just a little under a month away, and we've got a lot to talk about coming up here as we get ready for the Daytona 500. The Great American Race. I'm excited, and so is Corey LaJoie because he just earned himself a ride in that race with RFK Racing. RFK Racing, who is where LaJoie actually serves as their test reserve driver. He's getting a chance to not only race the Clash in relief of Brad Keselowski, who we told you last week broke his ankle during a skiing accident over the offseason, but now LaJoie is going to be able to attempt the Daytona 500 in the car number 99 for RFK Racing. Now, and here's what's really cool about that number specifically. Now, as we talked about last week, we remembered the late Greg Biffle. Well, RFK Racing is doing something really cool during the Daytona 500 this year, where they're going to take that iconic number font that Greg Biffle drove throughout his time in the NASCAR Cup Series, from the moment that he got in the Cup Series in 2003 until the moment that he left full-time, I guess, at the end of 2016. They're going to come back. They're going to run that specific font, and it's not just going to be the 4 RFK cars as well. The original number 16 font is going to be in use as well at the Daytona 500 because RFK and Colleague Racing have basically partnered to honor Greg Biffle by putting AJ Allmendinger's number 16 car in that specific Greg Biffle font. So it's going to be a great tribute to the Biffmeister as we all continue to remember him and everything he did in NASCAR, as well as off the track as well. It's a cool thing to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing those cars hit the track coming up here in a little under a month's time. And you can go right now online and look at those renderings right now of what those cars will look like. Definitely, it's going to be a pretty cool sight to see when those cars get rolled out for Daytona 500 practice and qualifying coming up, like I said, here in less than a month. Getting ready for that. Meanwhile, more entries in the Daytona 500. Chandler Smith will attempt the Daytona 500 next month with Front Row Motorsports driving a third entry with them, car numbered 36. It's also going to be a Ford Mustang, but good news there for Chandler Smith getting another opportunity to run the Daytona 500. Meanwhile, some of the Clash news. Burt Myers and Team Amerivet will once again enter the Clash coming up here on February 1st at Bowman Gray Stadium. And that will, again, they will be returning. They ran the race last year. Burt Myers, a household name, I guess, if you're watching Bowman Gray racing at the Madhouse every single week. You know who Burt Myers is, and NASCAR fans who were unfamiliar with him last year now definitely know who he is after his debut last year. Now for some other interesting news and notes coming up here. Ross Chastain is going to drive 4 races for Jordan Anderson Racing in their number 32 entry in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series next season. Cole Butcher will join Thor Sport Racing to drive their number 13 truck full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, so good news there for Cole Butcher and fans of the Canadian racer. Also, for fans in general of the man by the name of Travis Pastrana, he's coming back to NASCAR because he signed a deal to race the 42 truck with Nice Motorsports at Daytona again in less than a month. So we're going to see Travis Pastrana and Tony Stewart in that truck race coming up here at Daytona. I am pumped for it. That's going to be one heck of a field. I'm very excited to see how that goes, and congratulations to Travis Pastrana for being able to put that deal together and get himself back into a truck at Daytona. Staying in the Truck Series news so far today, Tony Breidinger has announced that she has left Tricon Garage and joined Rackley WAR to drive the number 27 truck in at least 8 races next season. So she'll be racing part-time really for Rackley WAR as opposed to her full-time effort where she ran the number 5 Toyota truck last season for Tricon Garage. And now the final piece of news that we talk about before we get into a little bit of a cool piece here. Hailie Deegan is returning to stock cars after a stint last season in Indy Next. She has returned to Bill McAnally Racing, where she ran in the early part of her ARCA career when she was just getting started. And she's going to drive the number 16 Chevrolet full-time in the ARCA Menard Series West next season. So her first race is going to be coming up again in February at Kern County. But that's a pretty big change there for Hailie Deegan going from ARCA to trucks to Xfinity, then to Indy Next, and now back to ARCA. An interesting career progression, but good luck to her. And now, before we take our final break of the show, I'm going to announce this real quick. Presley Sora, Cambridge City's own Presley Sora, has announced he's going to enter the ARCA Menard Series race at Daytona, also in a couple of weeks' time now, for Fast Track Racing, which, if you don't know, is owned by Indianapolis native Andy Hillenberg, who also started in Indianapolis 500 back in 2000, is a handful of NASCAR starts, an ARCA veteran, if anything, and he's owned that team, and so he's teaming up with Presley, and Presley's going to be on this show this week. So don't miss that episode of the Racing Report where we're going to talk again with Presley Sora as he describes what it's going to be like for him to get his first start at a track larger than 1.5 miles. Don't miss that. You're going to want to check it out. But in the meantime, we do have to take our second break of the show. But when we come back, we are going to recap the Chili Bowl Nationals and get you all caught up and ready for this weekend's Rolex 24 at Daytona. So, again, lots of reasons to stick with us here. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Racing Report. And welcome back to the Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters. Thanks again so much for sticking with us through that break. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chili Bowl Nationals, which was won by Franklin native Emerson Axsom. And you don't want to know how he did it. You know how well, first of all, he started second. That helps. But he passed Kyle Larson. Yes, reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson. At the time, the defending A-Main winner in the Chili Bowl, Kyle Larson, passed him on the 5th lap and never looked back. Now, here's the thing about Larson. Larson didn't really have much of a chance to catch him because, just about, let's say about 20-ish laps into the race, he got caught up in some lap traffic, and the car actually flipped over, damaged the front axle substantially, and Larson's race was donezo. Just like that. And all Emerson Axsom needed to do then was just hold off probably 2 of the top drivers in the midget car ranks in Justin Grant and Kevin Thomas Jr. Whoops. Brain broke right there. But anyway, he did so. He looked like he had one of the faster cars all race long, all week long, really. He was definitely one of the cars to beat, and he showed it because he survived a multiple late race restarts, including what was essentially a green-white checker finish, which was triggered when he made contact there with KTJ and sent Justin Grant up into the cushion, flipping, and that was not an ideal situation, but Emerson Axsom hung on and won his first Chili Bowl Nationals. He also becomes the first native Hoosier since Tony Stewart did so in 2007 to win the Chili Bowl Nationals. Now, I know some people are going to sit here and they're going to say, well, no, hold on. What are you talking about? Brian Clausen won Chili Bowl. He's from Noblesville. Well, I said native Hoosier now. I said native Hoosier, which means you were born in the state of Indiana. Brian Clausen, may he rest in peace, was born in California, but did go to high school here in Noblesville, Indiana. But Emerson Axon being the first homegrown Hoosier since Tony Stewart in 2007 to win himself a Chili Bowl A-main. Congratulations to him. Wish we could talk to him. Maybe we'll get him on the show someday. We'll just have to see. But for now, like I said, before we took our break, get ready because Presley Soar is going to be on the show here this week. As we look ahead now to the races coming up, we have the Rolex 24 at Daytona this weekend. The opening hour is going to be on Big NBC starting at 1:30, while the rest of the race will be on Peacock, streaming on Peacock, with the final hour on Sunday beginning at noon on Sunday. They'll show the final hour on Big NBC. So big news there for the Rolex 24. Definitely not going to be an event you guys are going to want to miss. Again, always one of the most fun events of the year. And I'm personally very excited for it because I'm pretty jacked by some of the drivers that are going to be in this field for the Rolex this year. It's going to be definitely a big one. And now here's the thing too. We got to talk about this. Some big shakeups with qualifying. It's the Acura. We had some problems there where the number 31 GTP car, the Whelen Cadillac, got moved to the rear of the GTP class because it failed post-qualifying technical inspection, which means that Renger van der Zande will lead the field to the green flag in the number 93 Acura Meyershank Racing Acura beginning this Saturday. So looking forward to that. Lots already some juicy drama in the world of IMSA that we can't leave out. But that's not the only race coming up. We've also got Formula E, the Miami E-Prix on January 31st. The Clash at Bowman Gray for NASCAR is going to kick off the NASCAR season on February 1st, and the Daytona 500 is scheduled for February 15th. And that is it for this week's episode of the Racing Report. Again, we really appreciate everybody who tunes in each and every week. We really appreciate your support. Remember, if you like that show, go ahead and follow me on social media at rpeters33, and make sure you've got the WTHR Plus app installed on your smart TV so you get brand new episodes each and every week. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you in 1 week's time after the Rolex 24.